I'm on the outskirts, the edge of being there. I'm giving out, I'm blending out. I'm radioactive, sociopathic, oleo tactics to keep us down, to keep us down. Critical mass.
Hey, welcome back to the Commonwealth podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Clarity, and of course, my co-host, Ina. How are y'all today? How are you today, Ina?
I'm a little rough, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, not rough.
I'm a little rough today.
Ina's
It's okay.
great.
I went out last night, did some adult things, so.
Adulting at its finest.
Yeah. You can't do adulting without going out to do some adult things also. As the, what do you call it? The polarity or the, I don't know, catching the reverb, whatever.
Any new topics to add to dating? Anything happening in your adulting?
No,
process?
well, actually, kinda, but I kind of knew it was coming, so I just had to, when you're, this goes into the question that we had, I think we were talking about it last week, around access versus eligibility.
Ooh, tell us more.
So I actually had like a full-on practice around access and eligibility. Because I had been observing this person's behavior and I kind of already had my personal decision around access and eligibility and was just like, we should just be, cordial and like learn how to become friends. But like, there's just too many things that are outside of what I'm willing to put up with in a way to be romantically involved or even like, I'm not even sure if we could even do play partnership. And so, because those two things are different things in my world, right? I have play partners and then I have actual people that I'm interested in, like maintaining a level of romantic relationships. Those two things can intersect, obviously. You can have play partners that become romantic relationships and vice versa, right? But like, typically there's a little bit of separation there. So even though they can intersect, they don't often do. And that those kinds of intersections would take time. So anyway.
So what are your separations between the two?
What do you mean?
Between play partners and romantic partners.
So typically, like a romantic partner is someone that you're like you can see yourself, after dating. Like you've dated for some time and you're still sort of in that phase of dating and wanting to connect and wanting to be with that person more often and invite them to more things and you basically inviting them into your life and they're inviting you into theirs in a more consistent basis. That's more like what I consider a romantic partnership.
Gotcha.
Play partners are play partners.
Seeing when you got time.
Well, no, I mean, there's a negotiation, obviously. Like, how are you gonna play? How would we play? Like, what are you looking for in this play partnership? And every play partnership has its own dynamic. But yeah, again, it's typically, it hits a different note. Okay. So that's all I'm saying is that there's these various levels of relationship. And I haven't even gotten into like the psychological partnerships that I have or like the emotional partnerships that I have, which are sometimes non-romantic. They may be, what's the word I'm looking for? Because like there may be an element of romance in those, but they're they're non-romantic in the sense that like we're not, doing anything
Intimate.
Physical. We're
intimacy.
intimate without the physical side of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So,
so this accessible person was not.
Well, part of it is because they want to have access to things that I am like, you're not eligible for that access at this point. And the fact that you're asking me about this range of topics sort of consistently, for me, I find that to be a little red flaggy. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't really, I'm like, no. Like, you have an agenda, which I'm understanding now.
Yeah.
And it's not a judgment on the situation or the person. It's just like, oh, I see that you have an agenda. Your agenda has been aroused for, tactile language. Your agenda has been aroused.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to sort of like put you in, like, just remind you that, like, your arousal is not my burden. Don't make it my burden by continuing to ask me these motherfucking questions. So
Set the boundary.
so it's like I'm setting a boundary
it.
and also keeping a little bit of a bridge open because there's other collaborative things that I am looking to still be able to do, and we'll see if that ends up happening, if somebody can lay down their agenda enough to resume that piece. So practice in access and eligibility. Like, you're eligible for these areas of my life, but that means that you're not going to have access to these other areas. Mm-hmm. Period. And you may lose the eligibility that I want to give you. Right? If you continue down this path.
There's a way that you can go. You cannot open these doors.
Yeah, so it's just, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We shall see. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's on the dating front for me. I date myself first, as I've mentioned before, and so that's going pretty well, and I'm just sort of like managing a couple things and how to take better care of myself as I transform even deeper into my purpose, and becoming even more self-aware. So that's been really what's been up. That's really what's been up. That kind of actually leads into the seasonal. We've got some seasonal questions, y'all. So that we were sort of navigating around Virgo season, Mercury retrograde, full moon release that's coming. It's waxing to full moon right now.
Virgo season.
Definitely Virgo season.
How do you feel about Virgo season? We just passed Leo season. It was great.
So one of the things about Virgo that is amazing is that they have a relationship to the details of a project or life or a system or whatever that is very unique to them. Mm-hmm. Some may say that they're hypercritical. Whatever, it can present however it presents, because people are not a monolith. Humanity is not a monolith.
Correct.
And so but this relationship that I'm learning with Virgo, because this has been a kind of an ongoing thing for me as an Aries, but I don't always have because I'm not a detail person, which sounds funny coming from an artist. Like, the only way that you really get me in the details of things is when I'm painting. That's a non-verbal practice of mine. Mm-hmm. If you ask me to write it out and talk it out and all the details, I will look you in your face and tell you no. I don't want to. I will not.
That's interesting.
So when Virgo season comes around, I am always in the mode of re-exploring how I can understand my relationship to the details of my life, and how I can navigate it in a way that does feel comfortable for me. Because typically I'm like, the reason I don't like details is because as somebody who's in my age group, I grew up, details mean paperwork, bitch. Okay? Think like Dilbert, old school Dilbert cartoons or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Well, there's just like stacks of paperwork on your fucking desk. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I think details, my immediate trigger response is, ugh.
Paperwork.
Like, air, get me out. Escape. escape. And so,
oh my God.
This season, when I'm looking at my own resistance to my own success and or some of the repression that I'm still working out of, this is one of those things that pops up. So I'm getting into the details of it to really understand it, to remind myself that, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I did a whole meditation recently around my resistance to the details of the Virgo season. And it came up with, this is because I've been holding on to this little thing. And it's just a story. It's just an image. It doesn't have to be that way. So I can have a whole new relationship with the details, which the meditational imagery that came through was, If you're looking at like a dry riverbed and you see all the detail, what are you really seeing? You're seeing all the channels of fluidity that had already flowed all the way through. So I could look at it like that, like veins of life, and not like paperwork.
Interesting.
You like that?
That was a very deep. Like,
Your face
concept. Like,
right now is so awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. Like the way you described that, I could see the veins of life flowing through this river. Is like, wow.
Yeah. Like a dried riverbed, baby.
Yeah.
And that will help guide me on my path too. So I just had to have a whole new relationship with it. So now I'm feeling really good about it. And
So you are very intrigued by not horoscopial. That's not a word, I don't think.
I'm a seasonal practitioner, so I'm really interested in the energy around me,
Okay.
right? And so I take a look at a lot of different things, not just like the astrological planets and their relationship to, you know, the Gregorian calendar. I also look at the Mayan calendar. I'm also looking at the moon. I'm also looking at the pressure systems in the air. I'm looking at the weather. I'm looking at, like,
Interesting.
I really look at my earthly environment on sort of a bunch of different planes.
In order
And
to
then
navigate.
and it also, and then I'm also looking internally at what is my relationship to my own body at this moment, what is my relationship to my emotional body, like how do I feel inside, what am I thinking about right now, do you know what I'm saying? So like I'm looking at all of these aspects like pretty much daily, multiple times a day usually.
Interesting.
And that's really the work of a practitioner, because I'm here to have a level of responsibility towards the human community. And part of that is, knowing how to tap into these different energy systems that people are affected by, and actually taking the time to think about it and measure it, and
I think for myself, I never take into consideration all those things until someone mentions it. Sorry. But then I start to notice it. Like, if someone tells me like, oh, the rain makes me feel this way, now I'm like, how does the rain make me feel? When Mercury is in retrograde, how does that make me feel? Like,
or how am I feeling? And the thing is like Mercury goes into retrograde all the motherfucking time.
Right.
And every different season, it feels a different motherfucking way.
Right.
And that's
And so
why I say I'm a
try
seasonal worker, because you have 3 months every season, 4 seasons a year, and that goes beyond the calendar. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that goes beyond humans' tracking of a calendar system or time.
Yes.
Because seasons are really based on Earth's pressure. And the pressure between water and fire and, air and earth. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I find it really interesting. I kind of look at, like, when it's Virgo season or Libra season or whatever, what I'm really looking at is what is the earth element underneath that? And what is that element doing? You want me to stop talking?
Yeah, because you talking too much.
Okay.
Balance it out.
All right.
Oh,
What would you? She had questions. I was just answering.
I did. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it happens
That's
like
all
that.
right.
But
We
that
can move.
was,
We can move.
that was interesting. Okay. Well, as it pertains to randomness and shifts in seasons, let's talk about Bill Murray, and Khalees. That's a hot topic right now. They just split. Most people didn't even know they were together. Hey, but they've been doing it all summer. Her milkshake is bringing these boys to the yard.
That's hilarious.
Or just Bill. I don't know who's been at the yard. I don't know. But, you stated watching Bill Murray as a child. How do you feel about that?
I was more so yeah. There was an element of like, wait, what? Like, there was definitely an element of me trying to like somehow, you know what I mean, in the brain, be like, wait, what now? But then after that, it's just like, I mean, whatever.
I mean, do your business, handle your lifestyle. But
The thing about, what do you call them? Like celebrity relationships or whatever, is I always have a perspective of how much bullshit is this? How much real is it?
Facts.
Like, I don't know what is agendized in the media just because they're looking for clickbait, or they're just thinking, whatever. Like, I don't know what's real and what's not real, or what's real and fabricated.
Which is very
And
true.
fabricated to what extent also.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the only people that know are these people and their agents.
Very true.
And the rest of us are just sort of like out here, like, ingesting a bunch of shit, but we don't know really if any of this is true. It's basically like another soap opera that happens in the fucking newsprint.
A soap opera. Okay.
Yeah, because the news these days is basically like an orchestrated soap opera.
Yes.
That everybody chimes into at different places. It's not on a cable It's not on cable, but it's over here.
As far as like clickbait, I think that I do agree that it's a possibility that it could be clickbait. But it's interesting the two people that they want to formulate to be clickbait. I mean, they're still notable people, but notable to what end? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, okay, is there a movie coming out? Is there some new music coming? Is there a tour coming to the forefront?
What's
you just
the agenda?
You just don't know about that one. And as far as like them, we are millennials and millennial-ish on the earlier.
I'm a late Gen Xer, so I'm closer to millennials. Yes.
So late Gen X, early millennial, and those people appeal to our first psyche. These kids nowadays have no idea who Khalees is, or
that's a really good way
Bill
of
Murray
putting that.
is.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Wonderful.
like who? Milkshake, and that's not a song that people are sampling right now. So I'm not first thought going, oh, Khalees, who? No.
Right.
The last thing Khalees was popular for was for having beef with Beyonce.
Oh, because of the money thing.
Yes.
Which she wasn't necessarily in the wrong on that either. But again, agenda and fucking what's real, what's not, who knows?
And it came and passed, and I mean, maybe she got enough publicity from this. I don't know, but it was more of a breaking story now that they broke up than than it was when they got together.
This is all I'm saying. This is why you just really don't know what's true or not true. And this also kind of in a weird way goes back to the conversation we were having around play partners versus romantic relationships. This just could have been some play partner shit. Like people into some freaky shit. Like people do what they want to do. There's all sorts of relationships out here, and if you don't think that half the people that are in the media are not having some level of polyamory relationships going on, I think that you would be remiss, because if you had that access to a lot of different people too, you would probably err on the side of like, ooh, who could I play with? Let's get real.
That's really important. Like, that's a really important topic. Like, if you could play with anybody, would you play with them?
Probably. That's me though. I'm like that.
I mean, if I had access to Michael B. Jordan, I would. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
See,
we were just talking about repression. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. It's like,
space.
are you operating from your own levels of repression? Things that you literally refuse to acknowledge that you want and desire because you have some level of social conditioning in between that's telling you that you're not allowed to be worthy of that. So, again, those questions are really helpful for folks that are still working through a level of resistance and repression to their own, true desire. Because we've been so socialized, and especially religious doctrine, pushes us in this mode of you're not allowed to have lust, you're not allowed to seek true desire is sinful, blah blah blah, bullshit. That's all ways to like get you away from yourself and try to seek something outside of yourself instead of looking at yourself and knowing what you really want.
I've never thought of accessibility and repression as like one and the same. Like if I had more access to the people that I lust over, would I still feel repressed?
Probably, because you still have to deal with your repression and resistance before you can actually jump the hurdle.
You think so?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how many people you're in front of. If you're still suffering from your own repression, you're not going to be able to even hold their hand or even approach that. Because you're still suffering. You're still causing your own suffering internally. Because your internal narrative is not to a place where you can step.
I think that's a valid statement, but how do you like pinpoint people who are like sheltered all their life and then when they get some freedom they kind of jump into that realm?
Because
like,
they're not repressed.
Really? You don't think so?
Some of it you have, some of that is a personality. Like there are people who have the personality to just like jump in the fucking fire and be impetuous and figure out how to float or fly or whatever later. Insert element and way to get escape, right? Like, do it yourself now.
Figure this out later. Yes.
I was like, in terms of the metaphor there, break it down. But yeah, so, and then there's others who require some, like, hand holding into it. And there's other people who will just stand there stubbornly and be like, not doing it. Right? And if I'm doing it, I have to do it on my own feet. So you really, it's a matter of personality. Absolutely.
Huh.
It's absolutely.
So you feel like yourself is one of those people who jumps into the fire and not one
We
who...
develop personalities as our escape.
Ooh, that is very true. I have had a share of personalities. I used to have my Hannah Montana personality. I used to, these are my nicknames for these personalities. I had Hannah Montana. I had, Miley, Hannah, and...
I feel like a golden sun all of a sudden.
You are very bright.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But no, I've had some different personalities, and when I like someone, I become this more shy, reserved. I feel like Jasmine.
Yeah.
Because it's not a person that I get to be very often. That's like my work figure. That's like my closed-inness.
Right.
But like...
So you still have a level of performance.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like when I feel in my bossness, I don't think I have a name for her yet. But when she comes out, baby, there's no stopping it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Is all human beings come with like a level of archetype, right? Like, and we meander in our own archetypes.
Yeah.
I think it's really healthy to understand the archetypes that feed you versus the ones that you use as a performance for survival. Those two things are really different. And when we re-indigenize ourselves or I say re-indigenize, some people say decolonize. I think we use different terms to center different people.
Yeah.
Right? But when we start to re-indigenize ourselves in the capacity of really just learning how to be, and that's all we came here to do, you don't actually have to do anything, you start getting yourself out of the performance and just really knowing who you are and how you act or behave in different scenarios, your archetypes then really start to serve you.
So
it's nice to have that difference though.
Yeah.
It's nice to discern the difference. Because a lot of us, we all have a level of code switching, we all have a level of contortion, we all have a level of performing in order for survival.
Yeah. Do you feel as though that same like contortion of sets of you, being comfortable with them makes them just you as a whole, or do you feel like, let me see, is being a person to you having all these elements and being comfortable with it, or do you feel as though all these elements of you makes it seem as though you have these methods of performance and survival? And
so I really give myself the grace of not judging who I am.
they welcome the Yellow Ranger, by the way.
Here we and y'all are playing, it's hilarious. I really feel like I have a really strong relationship with how I contort myself, and because I've been doing that level of work of self-analysis and discovery for like 30 years. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I have like a whole sort of realm of contortion, and there's a lot of things that are in there, right? A lot of different types of things are in there for different reasons, and I've gotten really comfortable with understanding like the different ways that I use contortion or have used contortion in the past, and what that either added to my identity or retracted from me really just showing up as myself. So like now I get to just show up as me. Like I've done these work, like I know sort of my habits, I guess, my social habits in that sense, or my relationship habits in a certain way. So when I start to show up a little funky or whatever, I can check it pretty quickly. and be like, oh wait, why am I all of a sudden feeling like I have to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Like, you know, monkey and the fucking whatever it's called. You know that toy? It used to be a toy. That's why we say that. Yeah. With the symbols, right?
Yes.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So if I feel like that, I'm like, why do I feel like that? And I can just take a pause and be like, why am I feeling like that? Where is that coming from? What in the environment all of a sudden shifted that I felt I needed to shift? Right? Was there energy walking by me? Was there somebody, you know what I mean? Like, is it external that I'm responding to? External stimuli? Or is something internal I'm responding to?
And so when that happens, if it's something that's external, do you leave or do you
No, I just
adjust?
addressed it. Yeah, I usually just address it like, wait, where did that come from? What's happening around me? I'll ground a little bit and then just, you know, try to figure it out. And then if it's internal, it's really kind of the same process. It's just a different question usually. It's like, what about this situation is triggering an insecurity? So that's usually where that comes out of. Like, I'm feeling insecure or threatened in some way, and now I'm going to start performing because I'm trying to push away and or deflect and or survive.
Ooh.
Some level of my survival has kicked off. I just have to figure out the where. Like the where. Where did it happen?
Would you say you are a little bit more patient or intolerant? Or tolerant, sorry.
Would you say that a little bit more patient or intolerant? A little bit more patient or tolerant to what? Like tolerant to my own self or tolerant to the situation that we're talking about, like in terms of resistance and repression? I need to know the details so I can respond.
I think that's
in
just really
kind.
interesting though.
Yeah.
I think that taking on different personalities, I feel like you're comfortable whenever it switches though. And I think that that's something that most people
I like to shape
haven't gotten to a place of being comfortable in the switching.
Yeah. Switch life
you
is
just
very
switch
unique.
and be there, like, but be comfortable in who you are. Because for myself, I find myself not wanting to mesh friend circles because I feel like I show up in different ways, and not always is it huge shifts, but
I wish you could call too. Shit. That would be
right?
fun.
Call us at 555.
I mean, I could just figure it out right now.
That would be dope.
That would be
Because
great.
then I could get some actual.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you that a core value of I don't necessarily. The word tolerate triggers me.
Like it's a little rule breaky.
No, tolerate to me actually is like in the opposite direction. It feels very like I'm just tolerating you. Like I don't really respect you. I'm just tolerating you. It's very colonial to me. Like it very much triggers this like colonial white supremacist feeling in my soul when I hear the word tolerate. And it doesn't necessarily mean that's the actual definition, but I'm definitely picking up like the way it's been used in my experience, the way that word has been used has never had a connotation that was life affirming or human affirming or emotionally intelligent. It was always something that was like negative, repressive, oppressive. And so that's because you are strong. That's interesting. That's an interesting reflection. So yeah, I mean, I tend to align myself and work a lot more on my relationship to patience and what patience actually means for me. And so there's very few things that I would say that I also have cultivated a life where I don't have to tolerate things. I think would be the other way. Okay, and that's good. That's good. And again, I can only speak from my experience. So that's good that you're still respectful while you're tolerating something.
Like
and in that mode, you know, most emotional reactions have a multitude of makeup, right? So like I'm probably practicing both simultaneously. I'm probably both tolerating and practicing patience in the way that you're using the word tolerate simultaneously.
That's like the statement, respect in public.
Yeah, I'm a little older, so my fucks to give around having respect in public is very is loosey goosey at best.
Wow.
It's loosey goosey at best because it's also like, you know, respect is not necessarily what others may perceive respect to be. For me, if I respect you enough to tell you how I'm really feeling in that moment, whether you appreciate that comment or not, that's still respect. Like, I'm still respecting you as a human being. And respecting humanity to me is different than being nice.
Ooh, that's valid.
Okay? Or politically correct or whatever you want to throw in the nice camp. I am not nice.
Travis.
I'm kind. I'm also compassionate. But I'm not fucking nice. I'm just not.
To know that about yourself is very
yeah.
imperative. Go live my life where I don't have to put up with.
I don't know what putting up with means, but
Gift.
adaptation is an absolute part of our human experience,
Yes.
and it's something that we get to do in a way that other mammals and animals don't necessarily.
Wait.
So
But
I received that
adaptation
as
is definitely
I received that as a method of patience. Do you feel as though your definition of patience reflects that? Because I feel like all of that is telling me patience. Like,
when
as a whole.
I talk about cultivating your life, there's so many areas of your life that you need to cultivate, and that includes relationships. And like, if you are unwilling to participate in certain types of relationship, A, because it doesn't serve you, and B, because it probably makes you feel like shit, then yeah, why would you encourage that? I wouldn't encourage that. What I encourage people to do is to cultivate a life where they actually want to show up for. Like, you've got friends on your friends list that you actually do want to text in the morning, right? Or you've got friends that you go out with that you actually want to fucking see. Like, you're excited when you see their face.
Yeah.
You're excited to show up for your life. That's what I'm interested in. So whatever you feel you need to, like, push aside or not pick up at all, you know, do what you gotta do to cultivate the life that brings you joy. Like, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Because I also, listen, I don't want to have to put up with shit I don't want to put up with. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm a parent. Obviously, there's going to be things that come up that are outside of my control that I'm going to have to manage. I manage a household. I manage pieces of, I manage the behind the scenes for certain other social and spiritual communities. So like, I'm, you know, meeting with the folks that are running different communities. And so, you know, there are things that I need to show up for, and there are things that are going to happen that, whatever. But when it comes to, I think some of that too, that I think the other thing that, the energy I get from that though, is that there's an avoidant attachment style that's inherent within this conversation that we could talk about. Like, because avoidant attachment styles themselves, it show up in a lot of areas of our life. Like, it shows up sometimes in even our relationship to self. Like, if you have certain attachment styles, or you have certain like relationship styles that you've been operating from, trust and believe you're doing that to yourself too. You're not just doing it out here; you're doing it internally. Yeah. And so it's really interesting to sort of look at some of that, like where you feel avoidant, where do you start pushing people away, where do you start isolating. Mm-hmm. Those are all really important conversations also under the sort of resistance and repression camp, because oftentimes we'll do things that maybe even counteractive to where we think we want to go. Like, we may have a vision of something, and our self sort of repression and resistance taps into like what other people call sabotaging.
It's like self-sabotage.
I don't necessarily, I'm not a huge fan of being in the like using the terminology self-sabotaging camp, because I feel like all roads to myself also lead me to all roads of my purpose. So whether it's sticky, it feels like quicksand, or whether I'm just flowing right along with the current, I'm still gonna get what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
Right? It's all part of the same thing. So, yeah. Again, I don't like to judge the journey. I like to be curious about it.
Enjoy the journey, curiosity.
Yeah, I like to be real curious about it, and then ask some questions. You know, it's interesting to me. Like, it's, to me, this whole journey of human experience is super fucking fascinating. And as much as humans are ridiculous, humans are also very wise, and we just do some shit that is like ridiculously prophetic. and the understanding of the overall universe. So I'm hype about the shit.
Yeah.
I like learning about myself. I like learning about other humans.
I like it. They say curiosity killed the cat, but the cat has 9 lives, so
Right.
he didn't die.
Right.
And be curious about yourself.
And was it curiosity, or did the cat know it was going to die when it jumped in the fire? Like, you have to wonder these things too. Like, maybe it already self-resolved that, hey, I'm going to go just jump in the flames and see what the fuck happens. And I'm not afraid. And a part of that lesson
That's
is
the
really about
positive.
not being afraid to live however many lives you need to live. Nobody talks about that side.
That is an interesting take on that. That is a very interesting. You're so vivid in your like descriptions of things. Like, I can see all of this. Like, the cat, like, yeah.
Right? But the cat.
But the 9 lives makes it walk out like.
it's also because I have an understanding of fucking feline behavior. I've had cats.
Shit with a lot of things. Very understood woman. Everything.
I also feel like I've lived probably at least 7 lifetimes already, off top. Easy.
Sheesh.
I've got them, like, you know what I mean? Like, in the back of the book of life, you know, behind all my consciousness or whatever, my subconsciousness, there's like a whole library there, girl. There's like seasoned volumes for all of these different fucking lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these little lifetimes I've already experienced. We're not even talking about past lives. We're just talking about this one. Just this one right here. This particular one. Yeah, I've got, and I just put them all in the library, and if I need a lesson or I need a reminder, you know, I can pull that shit out. But, like, you know, otherwise it's just, they're stacked.
Yeah.
You know, I go there every now and again when I'm, you know, sorting through something or brooding or whatever, having an existential crisis.
She's like, let me flip through
The
these
library,
pages
yes.
real quick.
Go access the library. So, yeah. People call that sentiment or that imagery or whatever, like a whole bunch of different things. Everybody's got a different name for it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have a library of yourself that you access. Yeah.
Oof.
And if you don't, cultivate that shit, because
Yeah.
that's a potential. I want to know more about what you asked yourself a question earlier, but you didn't actually like answer it. So I'm going to ask you directly.
Ooh.
What does it mean for you? What does it mean for you? Because you say you don't always take the time unless you're prompted. So let's give you the prompt of what has Virgo season felt for you? It started, what, Wednesday or Thursday of this week. What has Mercury retrograde felt like for you? And do you have any relationship to the full moon coming? Because you've had a couple. So you've had your own Mercury retrograde experience this week. Why don't you talk a little bit about that if you're comfortable? You can just generalize.
Okay.
Right, because essentially there's a miscommunication on a new position.
Yes.
You're supposed to start Monday, now you're not starting for another 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that is, if nothing is more Mercury retrograde than that shit, because it's all about communication.
Yes.
And just having basically you're not starting until you were about to start on Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is like, you're starting after we go direct. Basically, because 2 weeks is like, yeah, like
yes.
everything is direct in 2 weeks. Ain't shit direct right now.
Right.
Like, anyway.
It's had its highs and its lows, most definitely. Unlike Leo season that just kept seeming to climb.
Yeah, because
Virgo season for me has been like, I thought it was going to go like this, and it's like,
yeah.
and it's not down. It's just like slow climb, not high climb. It's had its highs and its lows, like I said. The start, like I said, I was supposed to start on the first day on Monday, and that didn't happen. Negotiating some pay, fingers crossed for that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's hope it's more fruitful for you.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Yes, most definitely. I've had some wins, which is starting into real estate. Thank God for that. Mm-hmm. But it's also had some unexpected turns in the dating perspective. During these past few seasons, not even just Leo season, these past few seasons, dating has not been my forefront. And then getting back onto the dating apps, it still hasn't been something that's been like quick and
You should wait
to...
till Venus goes direct. And Venus is in retrograde right now, so don't even just
That's been really interesting.
I mean, it's fine. You can start some things, but just know that
Yeah.
you just lay low.
That's been really interesting.
Way
The
over
whole dating scene has been really interesting. Single, right? But anyway. But that's been a really interesting turn of events because I haven't had any perspectives. And I've been having this reoccurring dream that, let's not say reoccurring dream. The dreams have been different. The statement in the dream has been the same for the past
Yeah, it's
week.
about the same thing. Yeah.
But the dream has not been the same at all.
That's okay, because the message is coming through is the same.
The message is coming through is exactly
They're just
the
trying to
same.
hit you in all aspects.
Yes, and it's
Of your
just been
subconscious.
that I'm not gonna be single for much longer.
Yeah, so
I don't know what that means though. I don't have no
It means
solutions,
what
no
it means.
perspectives,
What do you mean
no
you don't
nothing.
know what it means? It means
I don't see it. I don't
It's
see
basically
it.
don't stress about it. It's gonna come your way either way. So just relax and enjoy yourself. Right? That's usually what that means.
Is there
relax.
enjoyment in that though?
Why
when
wouldn't
you
there be?
hear a message of like, this is coming to fruition, now you're like anxious. Like, when is it coming? Should I be looking? Am I gonna miss it?
Oh, I see. You have fear
Yes.
around missing it.
Yes.
Let that shit go.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just enjoy the process, girl.
I'm like, there's so many things happening right now. The
It's gonna mean
job,
so
the-
much more
the
if you just
new-
enjoy the process. Just relax. It's telling you to relax, but you're like picking it up as a stressor. That's
Yes, I am.
I fucking love that. I love it when, like, listen, like, that is such a human fucking thing to do. The universe is like, I got you, baby, and there's like holding you and just trying to give you comfort, and you wake up into your humanity, you're like, fuck! It's the funniest fucking shit. I am not outside of this interaction. I am not outside of this response. Please don't think that just because I have a read on it means that I'm like somehow holier than this. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that like I find it ridiculous and hilarious at the same time.
Yes.
Like that's some real human shit. That our human
I
responses
receive that.
to divinity sometimes is so fucking funny. It's so funny.
I
Anyway,
receive that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
everyone,
It
yes.
was meant to have you feel comfort.
Hey, hold on.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Say something again.
Something again.
Not you. Not you guys. Hold on.
Oh, hello. We have a special guest in here. If
Can you put
turn
the
that up just
volume
a
up
little
so
bit.
we can hear her?
Is it working?
Yes.
Where's it coming from?
Here.
Back here.
Hold on.
Oh my god, we have a live call. I'm so excited.
Very excited.
This is so dope.
Okay, try it. Say something again.
Who?
Oh, hey. Welcome to the Commonwealth podcast. Please share. Who are you? Our special guest.
It's May Dizzle.
Hey, Nadizzle. Shout out to you.
I've been I've been urgently trying to get on. I can definitely vibe with each one of you guys because I want to be Anna, but Jasmine, I'm so you. But it's so cool to listen to each of y'all's perspective. I can feel you and Anna hanging out, and then you expressing your doubts and stuff, and I can be like, yeah, no, just chill out.
Yeah. I'm so excited that you called in today. That is so
Yes.
awesome. Thank you so much. You're like our first caller.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Uh-oh, you faded out.
About me and you were trying to work on me getting on.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Yeah, we were I can kind of hear the background, so I wasn't sure if your voice was going to come through or not.
Yeah.
Found that background speaker.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, no, that feeling of humanity is always overwhelming, especially when you get assigned. It's wait, so am I missing something? You know?
No, not at all.
But
If anything, it's a confirmation that you're in the right place. When you start having dreams that are sort of giving you a direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's appreciative.
Yeah.
You hear it, you feel it, you're like, okay, but the human side definitely gets a little paranoid. So I get it.
It can. It gets a little jumpy.
Yeah.
Restlessness is something I've also
Restless.
been. I was just talking to my homegirl this morning. I was like, yo, I'm restless as fuck. I've been on the phone with her for the last 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Because I'm just I'm restless and I just need to be able to talk this shit out. Like it's just happening in real time, right?
Yes.
And I was like, you know, just going through again, like I'm going through this like sort of fine tooth combing of my own resistance and repression because I am in a period of transformation, and I know that this is the work that I need to do right now to really start, you know, having that phoenix sort of fire that it's going to be present for me in the autumn. And so this is sort of my way of getting prepared for that. And yeah, it's just been really fascinating.
Yeah.
I find it really fascinating.
I think every season is really fascinating and interesting to explore, but as I continue to grow, I kind of get more intrigued with the seasons, as I talked about a little bit earlier, the different seasons, different things that are happening with the elements of the world and of, you know, astrology. And it's really interesting to see, like, some of that does have an effect.
Absolutely.
When you watch it happen more than once, and then to watch your growth in it. As you get older, as you get wiser, all those things play a part as well. So it's always really interesting to see that dynamic kind of play out.
Right, and the question on the stream is actually really sort of part and parcel of that. So some of us have vivid dreaming, some of us have meditational practices that we're going to hear or see. You can envision or not. Numbers are the math of the universe is another way that certain energies will communicate with you, right? So oftentimes, like I tell this to,
Hold on just a second. Nary, are you talking? Are you still there?
I can't hear.
I've been talking, sorry.
We couldn't hear
We
you.
couldn't hear anything.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. All of a sudden I just heard, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And you just
So I wanted to address the comment that's about numbers because one of the things that I will ask if you start to see numbers is start tracking the numbers that you see, what your thought pattern is, and or what your emotional feeling is at that moment. Yeah. And then
I hear it too.
once you do that for a certain amount of time, like do that for a month.
We're figuring
Okay.
it out, you know?
It's fine.
You know?
Once you do that for a month, then you can start getting into what the numbers actually mean. It's more important, and I know most folks kind of go the opposite route, but I've been watching numbers.
Just talk about me to my face, man. You ain't gotta talk about me behind my back. I'm right here.
It's not just you that I tell you that.
I know.
It's a practice. Because again, I've been looking at repeating sequences of numbers since I was a teenager. So my relationship and the time that I've spent with it has been long.
Yeah.
So basically what I do for people at this point is that I've condensed the process. Because what took me years to learn, because again, I was growing up in an environment too, this shit was not, it was not popping like it was now. I was out here doing a lot of things on my lonesome, and so I'm trying to figure it out. So now I just try to condense that for other people. It's like, listen, do this first, then you can start looking into the frequencies of the number, and you can start looking it up. Because it's going to make more sense after you start tracking yourself, after you track your own thoughts and your own emotional processes. So, and tarot is fun. I think tarot is more fun when you learn how to do it for yourself. That's just a personal opinion.
I think that's interesting. I don't know how to do it for myself.
Yeah.
That's something new for me, tarot.
Yeah, because it's a process of playfully learning how to connect to your own energy and start reading yourself. Because what's better than being able to read yourself? I mean, your relationship with self is important.
No, definitely.
And then you go to other people when you need help because you're blocked or you just can't. For the thing, like I do too. I have people in my life who I will go to for certain things.
Yeah.
When I am unclear about reading my own lifetime,
Yeah.
right? Because the reliance on reading yourself and understanding your own energies, and that you can also, you can pull your own cards, you can read the little manual, you can learn, right? You can learn tarot. And there's a lot of different types of tarot out there these days. And I think all of it is kind of interesting.
For that question, I think that once you start
doing
to
it
feel
right or meaningful.
I think that's a feeling. I've had someone teach me how to read tarot once, and they were like, the cards will heat up or cool off if you're supposed to pick them up. And when I tell you for the first time that had ever happened to me, I was like, this card is hot as shit.
Right.
It's like, that card is for you. I was like,
right.
but how do you know that? I don't know. But when somebody tells you what you're supposed to feel, you feel it. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That card.
Right. And it's funny because like for me, it's the shuffling. So I don't actually pick a card. I shuffle and the wind will pick. But that's also because I have a relationship to wind.
Yeah.
Other people have a relationship to earth.
Yes.
So one of the things that you need to understand about yourself is how elements work in your life and how your body is already sort of sequenced and or frequenced into certain relationships with certain energies and I would say earthbound pressure systems. So like you've got your fire, your earth, your air, your water, plus all these there's other elements too, obviously, that you can get into. Thunder, for instance. Right?
That sounds interesting.
Mountain, for another instance.
Yeah.
Forest floor, mycelium. I mean, like there's so many things that you can have a relationship with. The body actually will have a relationship that can frequency itself to. So, but again, all of us practitioners have different methods.
Yeah.
So when you're in a space with somebody who operates that way, that's what it is, what it's going to be. Versus like if I'm doing something for someone over the phone or virtually, I'm still going to be shuffling and I'm just going to wait for the cards to fall. And all I'm asking them to be is they're in my energy, which is I have a lot of relationship to wind and thunder.
While you're talking to them,
Yeah. So I'm just saying, and I also bring that up because not everything works for everybody.
That's true.
What did you
And it's mostly because I want folks to understand that
Yes.
only slightly that if you're in a situation where it doesn't resonate, keep trying, keep looking. It's okay. And you can also say that to the practitioner, like, this is not really resonating for me. I know a lot of people I think are uncomfortable with that conversation. I love that conversation.
I think that's interesting. I've never been uncomfortable. I've been more like, this has been confirming what I've been thinking all along.
Yeah.
But I hate when it's like my time frame is not based in the same logic. Like,
Of course not.
yeah, I'm like, you said it'll happen in 2 weeks, and
No.
it didn't happen in 2 weeks. I don't feel like it's happening in 2 weeks. Like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing about knowing. Right? So sometimes you know some shit and then you can end up pushing it away because now you're just stuck on it.
Yeah.
And nothing pushes away some shit than obsession.
Okay, guys,
Very
give me a
much.
sec.
some people, do you believe that some people can like pause the process?
That some people can what now? Trust the process? Is that what you said?
No, pause.
Pause the process.
Oh, which part of the process?
I go out and I'm hanging out and I'm like, okay, so I'm feeling you right now, like you're really cool, like not sexually, nothing like that. But
Yeah, no.
like let's just hang out, like I'm feeling that person.
Uh-huh.
And then you're telling them like you're really cool and stuff, and then they like all of a sudden get like insecure and like
Yeah, but that's not your problem. That's their problem.
okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I totally get what you mean. And how I'm gonna phrase this is this also talks about repression. You are not responsible for other people's repression. And lots of people have repressive elements when it comes to specifically receiving attention, affection, and what's the third one I was gonna say? Anyway, attention and affection specifically. People are very repressed around that. And so even though
Let her talk.
oh,
Go on, Nate.
Is this the same as the PAX East stream on YouTube?
What?
Mine, who's that?
I'm
Try talking to her because I'm trying to see if it's possible. Because you can barely hear those headphones over there.
Yeah, but
Right.
that seems to work better because there's less lag.
That's what I'm trying to see. But she's not talking like she was when she was talking over there. So I need her
Right.
to keep talking.
Oh, okay, yeah, because she was.
She had a question on this side.
I was answering
listening.
her question, and then you told me to stop.
I know what was happening, but I'm
Oh.
testing.
Okay, now?
Yes, now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, now. Talk now.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna have to have some, my mic and everything turned on next time if we do this. Because I
Okay.
had my AirPods on.
Oh, was that
So
why it was
that's
coming in
why
and
it
out?
was shutting it out? Yeah.
Okay, because now it's
Maybe
coming
that's
across
why.
really well. Yeah. Okay.
Is she talking to a lag?
Okay.
But it's also like if the video goes interfere the audio.
Am I-
We can still hear you.
We
Is
can
she
hear you.
watching it- Are you watching it on Twitch and on Zoom at the same time? Or are you only on Zoom?
Hello.
Why don't you turn off the video on
It is.
Okay, so every time my AirPods get unplugged, it comes on. That's what the problem is. Okay.
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 No more AirPods.
So never talk into the AirPods, just go on speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, so the speaker works. Are you on Zoom or Twitch?
Zoom. I
Okay.
cannot get on Twitch and I cannot get on Facebook or YouTube.
Okay. So she's just on Zoom.
Okay, cool.
And
All
Zoom
right.
and
This is really
speaker.
weird.
So see how this conversation is seamless now?
Yeah,
Yes.
Zoom and speaker.
That's what I was looking for. That
Absolutely.
means it can work through here.
Zoom
Perfect.
on speaker.
Zoom and speaker it is. Okay. Yay! Thank you for being our live stream guinea pig today.
Yes.
That's
a
super
technical
awesome
host.
of you. I
Hi.
appreciate
Hi.
you. I love it when we get to do new things.
I think
That's super
the
cool.
way we would do it is be like, I'll let you know there's a caller. You give them the cue to ask the question.
Sure.
They'll ask the question and then I'll fucking mute them and kick them out the room.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sounds
Because
about
I
right.
think that leaving them on.
Gotta be a way of this without having to disrupt the show a little bit.
I feel
Right,
like you're
yeah.
listening to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
always
she's
listen
listening
to
to herself.
That
And
happens.
he's not.
Yeah.
But that happens with Zoom specifically, right? Like you're either watching yourself
no,
or you're
because
listening to
what
yourself.
she's hearing is you and her
Uh-huh.
coming back, and it's distracting her, and that's what I'm hearing.
We started having problems when we stopped fucking with Zoom. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
It's fine. I cuss all day.
Yeah. We stopped having problems when we stopped messing with Zoom. So,
Okay.
and then like now, Twitch won't always let me log on, and then it won't like
Wah wah
it's
wah.
dumb.
That's the wah wah wah
Yeah.
of Twitch. Okay.
Having
Cool.
thoughts out. Okay, sorry.
You're good. You're
Thanks, G.
Yep.
Love you.
good. Aw. Kyota. Kyota. Cool. I don't know how much time we have left. I don't know how much we've talked.
2 minutes.
I feel like I'm out of
Yes.
drink and it's time to refill.
Agreed.
It was like just like very little, very little.
I think
very
that the
little.
only way
Just so
to
much.
stop your progress is to obsess in the wrong direction.
I would
So-
say that's even just information. So I'm going I'm disagreeing with you, but more so like the expansive position of that is
That's good.
if you can again stay curious about why you're feeling that way, where the obsession is coming from, how obsession and compulsion are part of your process to
Yeah.
some degree, then you get to really get into the fun part of exploring, why am I being obsessive about these thoughts? Why do these thoughts start to how do these thoughts push a level of mental spiral, psychological masochism, I like to call it these days.
Yes, you do.
I've been exploring a whole bunch on like psychological masochism and emotional sadism, and then in the reverse, psychological sadism and emotional masochism, and how it revolves, like how personally I may be practicing those things internally or with my own inner dialogue or even externally. Are they showing up in my relationship to self? They might be showing up in my other relationships. Anyway, I say all that to say.
All that to say, what is for you is for you.
Yeah.
Continue to be vibrant, intelligent, beautiful, educated, and kind.
Right. And don't forget to be curious.
I think
and find joy.
that should be like a daily mantra that everyone should, set up for themselves.
Date yourself first. Absolutely.
I guarantee so many people wake up and they're like, fuck, I'm alive, I'm awake, fuck this, I'm gonna take on the world. And then that's what they do. But people need to wake up and say, okay, I'm alive, I need to be grateful that I'm breathing. I don't know, like, maybe that's a big gift. I think a lot of people are not in touch with their bodies. They're not in touch with their emotions. They're not in love with themselves, so they don't take care of themselves. A lot of people turn over. They want to turn over and be like, oh, good morning, baby. But they're single. So they turn over and they're like, I'm single again. So no, like, stop doing that. Like, wake up and be like, I'm here for me.
Right.
I'm doing this for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And that's the problem with everybody nowadays. And that's why a lot of people are out here, like, aimlessly searching for a vibe every day.
That's such a statement nowadays. The vibe.
Mm-hmm. But
if you're not...
vibe, because it is a vibration, you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy single. I've been single for 7 years with my kids.
Yep.
And
you.
Yep.
Come on.
I'll wake up. I made it a point to kick my kids out of my bedroom at night.
Yeah.
And I can wake up and then, like, feel my alarm goes off and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to fix my hair. I'm going to make myself look beautiful. And then I have another alarm that sounds off. And then it tells me get the boys ready.
That's right.
So
That's
then
right.
I get the boys ready. And then they're, like, happy because mom is happy.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely. You have to absolutely take care and find some love and space for yourself, especially if you're parenting. You have to. I mean, this is one of the reasons that I stay up late and sometimes get up early in the morning. But, like, I'm typically up at 3 a.m. because my kids are asleep. Because I need my personal alone time, both creatively and just personally. And so I don't care how many hours I'm up late, because I know that that's my joy time, right? I get to do whatever the fuck I want. I don't have to attend to anybody. I'm not making anybody food. Nobody's asking me shit.
Yeah.
Even if it's 15 minutes.
Although 15 minutes is not enough for me, but yes.
Even
When
if.
15 minutes.
People, please
Get
start
up.
where you can start. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Get up, make your coffee, go wash your face, make sure you at least look like you're a little collected. That's like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Get up, check the weather, take your time, don't rush. The key is not rushing.
Yeah.
Like, don't rush, just do it. 15 minutes, honestly. 15 minutes is a lot.
I have a coach, one of my coaches, she always advocates, we both have a different version of what we consider gazing. And so her version is, like, when you wake up in the morning, put your bed in a situation where you can actually just look out straight out the window and look at sunshine as the first thing in the morning. And mine is usually, it's art gazing. And so, like, I typically say, find a really nice piece of art that you've spent money on that, really you relate to, and put it somewhere in your eye line for when you wake up. And just,
this is
you know
a
what I mean?
passion issue.
It's a gazing.
Set your alarm for that time, the sun isn't coming up.
You can.
Set your alarm
I actually
for
don't.
that,
I don't use alarms. I don't use alarms.
No?
You don't use alarms, but so
That's
I
what I
work with
had to.
autistic kids, and so, like, timers, alarms, everything.
No, I know. I mean, I
is
get.
everything for a lot of
I totally get that.
Hey, Nick, tell Nate
Yeah,
to turn off her.
it's very cool.
Tell Nate to turn off her voice suppression in her audio settings.
Can you turn the voice suppression off?
Noise suppression. I'm sorry.
Can you turn the noise suppression off in your voice settings, please?
I think that's
Can you tell him I said yes, Daddy?
I'm not saying that.
It's not funny.
Because he can already hear you, number one.
Did she turn
I'm
it
getting
off?
fired. I'm getting fired.
The fucking cackle.
I feel like she turned it off.
She did.
Can you hear the difference now?
Yes.
Of course.
Tell her to keep talking.
Okay, keep talking.
About what?
I don't know. Do
Give
the
your
alphabet.
closing remarks, Nay.
Oh yeah, what are
What are
your
your closing remarks for this episode?
What is happening?
My closing remarks are, Jasmine, you need to straighten up and you need to be here more often.
That's funny because today's
Anna.
supposed to be her last show.
Yeah, no, she needs to stop it. She needs to stop.
Last day.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Can you find us a replacement of your choosing?
Of my choosing? Ooh, that's a great question.
Anna,
Yeah.
you're golden. I love you.
Thank you.
I was here on time today, Nay. I just want you to know.
I'm never on time. I'm sorry. I try.
Everybody late right now. Wrap this shit up.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was great talking to you, Nay. Thank you for your closing remarks. It has been a pleasure having our great talks today. And look forward to seeing y'all later. Come back and talk to us at the Commonwealth Podcast. See y'all later. Bye.